knowledge being spread. It's like warm butter across the bread. Smooth, I know you like that. Flow with the grain and don't fight that. You want righteous love, you found the right match. With Marty McFly, they on the right track. Yeah, gotta dig the dirt to plant the seed. Spread roots till you sprout like a tree. Doni Jones, she the one you wanna see. Doni Jones Live, this is where you wanna be. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey, welcome to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie the Tree Lady hanging out with...
that guy, Marty McFly. Before we get too far into your mic is on.
My mic is on. I know, right?
The mic sounds nice, you know.
Check one.
Right, you got to do these little self-checks. But
I know.
How are you doing,
I
Miss
am doing
Doni?
so great. I'm doing so good, feeling good, and continuing my journey.
Yes.
I'm trying not to bring that up every week. And by the way, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for checking out our show.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing our show. Those of you that went on YouTube and you've liked, shared, subscribed, we appreciate that.
And also, I want to thank you for actually the few of y'all that actually checked out my my St. Mark Church.
Yes.
You know, I started views, and I wanted to say thank you. And some of y'all ain't got to use that language in the comments, though. You know, if you disagree, it's one thing, but you're going to get banned. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
but
no, Marty, we can't ban people.
No, I'm not going to ban the language that they use.
Okay, well.
I'm just saying, everybody ain't holy. But it's been, actually, it's been a really good week. You know, and I'm noticing something, Doni.
What's that?
I'm noticing people actually don't know what I do, even though I'm around you all the time.
It's kind of like they see you, but then they don't see you.
But you know what? I realize it's kind of like a relationship too.
Yeah.
Because and just for everybody, I'm gonna catch you. When me and Doni was doing a interview a couple of weeks ago, and one of the people that we interviewed, they were just like, "What? So what does he do?"
Yeah, I know, right?
And it's like, well, you know, I'm running these cameras, I'm taking photography, I'm doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And then
production. You basically do production. Yeah.
But it's interesting because people think this. She said, "Well, I thought he was just kind of signed to you.
Yeah.
And he was just your personal person.
Like, no, he's a company.
You know, and I'm like, no, that ain't my master. You know, I do, you know, do a lot of work with it, but I can talk to other people.
Exactly.
You know, because I know
like I'm your pimp or something.
Right.
I was like, no, he don't belong to me. We work together, and we have a company called Vast Productions.
Right.
And a lot of times people don't realize that that's what Marty does.
That's what I do. That's what we do.
Yeah. Along with being a pastor. Also.
Yeah, along with being a pastor. I wear a lot of hats.
Yes, you do.
You know, I actually had a guest come in last night because we pre-record our services and everything because of social distancing. But a lady came in and was just like, I went to her and her husband's house earlier that week, kind of talked with them, did some music production with them, told them about the church and what we were doing there. And she actually came and worked that night with the church. And at the end of the day, she said, you know what? I didn't realize you were the pastor.
Oh, my God.
You know, she's like, but because I see you doing the music and the camera work and this. And for some reason, I didn't realize you were the pastor. And it's like, I wear a lot of hats. And depending on where I'm at, you know, also with being that, it's something I have to ask you along with the listeners.
I'm just making sure. Go ahead.
And some of the, there's a radio station that we're affiliated here, 105.5 here in Atlanta.
The King. Check them out, guys. 105.5 The King.
And here's the thing that I have a problem with and I need help with, okay? We got a call last night that they were trying to give away food. They had pallets of, you know, produce, vegetables, and milk and all this stuff. And it's like, great, you know, for someone that needs it. Yeah. But I'm like, what about, I didn't have nowhere to take it to.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay, I didn't have enough people. I don't know.
You don't have enough people. Okay. So I think what I'm hearing you say is that there's a need, that you guys have the resources to fill a need.
Yes.
But we need to find more people or have people call in. If you guys know somebody in the Atlanta area that needs food or supplies.
Yes, food, milk.
Anything. Food.
Yeah, basically. Now don't call me talking about, look, I ain't paid my light bill and we need some money. I can't help you with that.
That is not the purpose of this. But seriously, if you guys are in the Atlanta area and you know somebody that locally that needs some food, or an organization that needs some food,
right,
please give us a call. 1-888-349-DONI, 1-888-349-DONI. You can call at the number right below the at the
and
bottom
really,
of the screen.
if it's not good food, give it to the animals. Give it to your pets.
Yeah.
You know, I will. I'm saying sometimes I'm saying I don't want it to go to waste. I give it to the dog. You know, but no. My thing is I want to make sure I help, and they called me, and I'm trying to just get the word out that if you are hungry, if you do need some more food or whatever, you know, reach out to us, and I would love to be able to help you get a biscuit or something in your mouth.
But you know what? That makes me think of your ministry. It's like people, we joke a lot about this, and we actually talked last week that we're going to talk more about the fact that this is what we do. We're here to serve. And I joke about it, you know, with him being a pastor, but he really is a straight up pastor at St. Mark Lutheran Church. And we started talking about our journey, and we're like, why don't we share more about the journey? I'm not just talking about my weight loss journey, y'all. I'm talking about, you know, the fact that, you know, we really feel like we were born to serve. And in my way, I serve through my tree service. And sometimes that means that we give a portion of our proceeds away to help people, or we'll do work for a little bit less expensive if people don't necessarily have the means. We choose where that is. Don't be calling me talking about you need some trees cut down for free, because that's not the program I'm talking about.
No. Trust me, she does not give that kind of stuff away. You just pick and choose. By the way, you know, you ain't have a donation to our church in a long time. But
I
that's
know,
a whole
it's a whole nother story.
we ain't gonna talk about that right now.
No, but it's so funny because I do talk about the entrepreneurial stuff, but a lot of the entrepreneurial stuff stems from my desire to want to overcome adversity and then help other people overcome adversity. And I remember you doing the same thing. You were actually working with a gentleman last week that was struggling with some things. And
you know, that last week is almost every week. You know, and that's one side that you don't think about. I'm saying, and I'm thankful that I'm in these positions that people do come to me and talk, but it is frustrating being a pastor. But no, I'm always helping someone, trying to push it forward. You know, a young man actually was needing work, you know, and trying to find somewhere to get him placed at is the biggest achievement, because it's like this. People like us and people like in churches, a lot of times they will sell you all of the information. They will tell you all of the information. But when you actually get off the podcast and out the pulpit, going out there and actually walking them to the job, that's the more meaningful thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Because it's easy to tell somebody, well, you need to just get your life straight and go get you a job.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay.
But where's the job?
Where's the job, and how do I get there?
And you know, I actually thought, I guess because I grew up with an entrepreneur as a father, and he was always charismatic and funny, and he was very engaging with people, that even when I did go get a job in retail, I kind of had a feel for how to talk to people and, you know, how to, you know, present myself, because I'd seen him interact with customers, and I'd seen him interact with, you know, a client in order to close a job or whatever. So my idea was, okay, I'm not happy with where I was. Let me go get this job at the retail store. Boom, walk in, bam, I get a job. Well, it's not like that for everybody. And it's not as simple as that. So a lot of times we tell people to do stuff, not realizing, piggybacking on what you said, they don't know how. And I think that we've got to stop for a minute sometimes and, like you said, walk people through the process. And sometimes it means being honest and telling them what challenges.
You don't need to do this. No, I'm saying sometimes you really, because sometimes you would give somebody a disservice, or you know, I'm saying now you can't crush people's dreams, you know, but if you really know, okay, look, you knocking on 60. If you're trying to be a young rapper,
you're not young anymore. That doesn't mean you can't be a rapper, but let's put some other parameters in place.
Let's put some other parameters on there. You know, if you are one of those guys that, man, I just want to make a hit out of this studio. And you ain't done anything in the last 20-something years. Maybe you want to shift your business model. You know, and that's a big key thing about any entrepreneur. That sometimes you have to shift your business model. I'm saying in the beginning, I just wanted to do music. but music wasn't paying. But radio commercials, well, they paid.
There you go.
Let me shift my model.
That's right.
And then after I grew a little bit more into it, I realized, okay, I can service people in music, but it's a certain genre of music.
Yes.
Let me shift the model.
Yeah.
And you have to find that niche. So at the same time, even in your church or your business, if you know that this, what you've been doing, is not adding growth to your business or your church or the community, shift the model. Because everybody.
I want to talk about that in our next segment. But I think if you are an entrepreneur, because we always want to kind of give people value. If you really do have a business and it's a legit business, and you want to make that shift like what he's talking about, one of the best books you can read right now, and if you don't want to read, you can listen to it on Audible or whatever, The E-Myth. I would tell any entrepreneur to read that book. Now, I read it years ago, and it did help me, but I still made a bunch of mistakes, which we've talked about before. But now going back, rereading it again, I'm like, I've done a lot of stuff right, but there's other stuff I am really so far off the mark. But reading this book is helping me get on the mark.
Yeah.
And so I tell people, read a book. Ask somebody for help.
Yeah.
If you have been doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. It really is. And people do that in their careers. They do that in their relationship.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They do that
in marriage. They do
it
all the time. Even talking to your mama, trying to get her to get on Zoom. I keep telling you the same thing over and over, and you ain't listening no more. And I gotta stop cussing her. Sorry.
You're so silly, dude.
I just had to go. I just, that reflection. There's somebody out there know what I'm talking about, because every time you get on Zoom and you're on mute.
Yeah.
It's the button. You see the little microphone.
But see, sometimes you gotta go show. I mean, granted, if you're on Zoom, you really can't go show them. But you might need to show them a video. Because if you keep telling your grandma,
how do I get to that tube view?
Yeah.
Where do I go now again? Now I'm supposed to look at all this technology, baby. I can't do that. Think of this, if you gotta try to talk them into taking off mute.
Yeah.
Think about trying to talk them in. Go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Type it. No.
But once again, this comes back to what we were talking about. We've got to be more hands-on with helping people. Even organizations out there that are there to help seniors or to help young people or help people get jobs. You got to actually sometimes get in there with people.
Well, get in there, and I'm gonna say this real quick because we got to go to break real quick. Even my senior citizens, I love them. But I almost have to keep telling them that you can still do stuff.
Yeah.
Stop running from this.
Yeah.
You can do this. This stuff is made that it's user friendly.
Yeah, and not only that, the technology will actually help them be more engaged.
Yes.
They can see their grandkids or I don't know. How do we get on the seniors? Well, I feel like maybe this needs to be heard.
Yeah, somebody needs to hear this.
Yeah, somebody needs to hear this. If you got a senior in your life that's struggling with technology, take the time to go help them.
No. If you a senior and you struggling with technology, go get some help. And actually, don't run away from it. Run towards it, because it's going to actually stimulate you, and it's going to make you actually.
And it's good for your brain.
It's good for your brain. I was going to say that. Anyway, I'm going to get in trouble. We need to go take a break, Dottie. You listening to Doni Jones live, or you gonna?
Yeah. Okay. I was looking at you. Okay. You're listening to Doni Jones live with Doni Jones and
Marty McFly. I'm saying your name is on the key.
I know,
anyway.
but we'll be right back.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
It's Doni Jones live. Doni Jones live. It's Doni Jones live. Doni Jones live. It's Doni Jones live. Doni Jones live.
Hi, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for giving us a chance to take care of your trees, Atlanta. And also, I wanted to give you a chance to see the magic behind our company, and that's our people. Our people make the difference. So once again, thank you, Atlanta. Our number is 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-8733.
May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the communion of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Hi, I'm Minister Marty Ringer, and thank you for joining us here at St. Mark Lutheran Church for another great Sunday service. Now today, we're celebrating Christ our King. And in the scriptures, he's speaking to us, allowing us to identify, are we if we are sheep or if we are goat. I pray that this...
First, people got sick and I couldn't go to school. Then another police shooting. My mom and dad were upset. It seemed like they were losing hope. But then I told them, don't worry, there's still hope.
Manna Publishing presents the House of Hope Story and Coloring Activity Book. It's 44 pages of inspiration with coloring activities to calm your mind and redirect your attention. Children and adults can use this tool to relax, focus, and best of all, be inspired to find hope. Get your copy today at mannapublishing.com.
Hi, I'm Doni the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service. I wanted to give you a chance to meet our team and to say thank you, Atlanta, for giving us the chance for the last 20 years to take care of your trees. I don't do this alone. I do this with a great team of people that make this happen. So once again, if you need tree work, give us a call at 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-TREE, where we are proud to serve the underserved.
Don's Tree Service.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I'm Doni the Tree Lady, and of course, you know who this guy is, right?
Yeah,
Do they
the
know
guy
who
that's
you
drinking
are?
that good coffee.
Yes.
Marty McFly, who's just going through it this week. You know, it's been I am so blessed because I got so much trials and tribulations going on.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, I am blessed.
You are blessed.
Because, and somebody needs to hear this real quick. If you feel like the devil is attacking you, then understand that you are doing something really
You are
good
doing
because
something
he
good.
doesn't attack the people that ain't doing anything.
That's right.
So some of my.
I got one thing though. Can we
What's
get
that?
chairs where our feet touch the ground?
What?
So anyway, go back to the devil. I'm sorry.
The devil will always try to distract you too. No,
Oh.
but no, no.
Sweetie.
But it's like this. Donnie, my truck done broke down.
Yeah.
Just got the thing not too long ago. Truck broke down. I'm recording my music ministry. My keyboard player got to the hospital, and I got to figure out this little thing. People at the church complaining because can't we go back to church right now?
Yeah.
It's Corona still.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you 70, you gonna die soon if you don't.
Yeah, but Marty.
I'm sorry. But yeah.
Marty.
What?
Okay, y'all. Do not want to be taken off the radio, but I am going to say this straight up.
Okay.
Marty, at some point as a society, we have got, we're never going to get back to normal, but people have to put their mask on, they have to use their hand sanitizer, they have to socially distance, but we have to go out into the marketplace and do what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
If that means going back to church, go back to church, but socially distance and may help. Now, if you have a compromised immune system, don't.
Right.
Okay, I'm not saying you should do that, but I am saying at some point, we have to stop living in fear.
Don't live
really
in fear.
do.
Be smart, but don't live in fear. And certain people are, even to this point, they're really to the extreme of
Right.
it. Like I still talk to people that I have not left my house since
Right, see,
last
that's
year.
what I mean.
And I don't went to the grocery store and came right back home, but
Yeah.
I ain't going to no restaurant. I ain't going out. And it's like, look, you're living too much in fear.
You're living in fear.
And
Yeah.
be smart. But here's the thing: if you have a church, open it up. If you are 60 and you're challenged, don't come.
Yeah, but that's
watch
my
it on
point.
TV.
If you're 60 and challenged, then don't come.
If you're scared,
or even
don't
if
come.
you're young and you've got health issues,
Yeah.
don't go. But we've got a whole nation shut. We got countries shut down right now, and not and that are falling apart. And actually, we're not talking about the mental health.
Well, I'll just say
What do you
on
mean?
that part.
What?
Like Australia
Yeah.
is like the top in this coronavirus. They've all of their cases really, really low because they did do the shutdown, and most of them was like, you know what, I can stay in the house too.
Okay.
And-
I don't think that's how they talk. But go ahead.
Well, I don't do the accents anyway. But you know who I was talking about.
Yeah.
But actually, their numbers have went down because the entire society. Here's the thing.
Okay.
The entire country was like, you know what? You're right. We're going to listen to the government. We're
Right.
going to stop for enough time. The numbers came down. Now they can go back and live. Because they.
Here's the difference. And I don't know this for sure because I need to know a little bit more about the government
You don't
there.
believe me because I'm colored. I know.
No.
She don't believe what I say. 'Cause I just told you, but I don't believe. I have to do some more research on that.
No,
But go ahead.
that's not even where I'm going. A lot of these other countries that completely shut down have a government that's going to take care of them.
They had a smart leader.
There you go. And so there are people in the United States that when they shut down, they still have telephone bills. They still have kids they have to feed. They still have responsibilities. And we are not in a system where if you don't work, the government's going to take care of you. Now, granted, and most of us, they said that 70% of Americans, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 set aside for an emergency fund.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
That's scary.
I look at my account. Yeah, I
so,
know.
Stop, Marty. I'm saying that I believe that if we need to shut down and you need to shut down, so be it. But if you could open up your business, and do it safely, you should.
Yeah, and I'm not saying to stop, but certain things, Donnie, unfortunately, you are not going to fix. Because here's the thing. Did you realize, I don't know if you saw the study, but during the stimulus package when people were getting the $600 a week or getting the money and everything, fast food restaurants increased in their sales.
Yeah.
Because people took that money, let's go eat real quick. Let's go splurge a little bit. I remember going to the pawn shop when this first happened, and it was empty.
Yeah.
Because people said, you know what, let me go buy a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really need now.
But see, that's what I mean. Guess what that comes back to?
Yeah.
That comes back to education.
Uh-huh.
It all starts with education, and if you know better, you do better.
Not necessarily.
And a lot
No, I'm saying, I know I need to pay my bills on time. That don't mean I do it. I know it, because people do that. They know a lot. I know if I eat healthy and I exercise, I can live better. I know that, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it.
That is true, because you know what? I've been documenting this weight loss journey this is day 220. It don't take 220 days to lose the kind of weight that I want to lose.
No.
But I am very inconsistent. So, as you can see, Donnie still got some puff still going on right now. So you're right. If you know better, you do better. But I'm recommitting to doing better because I do not plan on seeing day 365 at this weight.
Right.
I've lost some, but I still got a ways to go. But I do wear smaller jeans. These are some of my older jeans, and it wasn't as tough to button them. So I'm thankful for that.
And I will also say this, and I applaud you on that. And I always say this, my little phrase of a little bit of something beats a whole lot of nothing.
That is
true. So if you do, even if you are trying to work out and you ain't got that whole routine, just get up and try to do a push-up.
Yeah.
You know
what? It could start right there.
Right. Start with a push-up.
Yeah.
Now see, this goes back to what I was just saying 3 minutes ago. Just because you know what to do, don't mean you do it. I ain't getting up, pushing up. I need to.
But you're lean. You know what I mean?
And me and my wife was actually sitting in the car the other day, and we were looking at some heavyweight, pretty heavy people.
Right.
They were walking in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And she said, if we were that size, do you think we would exercise more? And I said, I doubt it. We probably get bigger. Because we are this size and we want to get, and we still don't do.
Right.
So it's a mental mindset of, what do? You always got to say, what can I do better? Just do a little bit more. And that's with your business. That's with your health. That's with your church. That's with your kids. That's with everything you do. You can't try to take over Rome in one day.
No, not
just
at all.
do a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit at a time, even if it's trying to help somebody.
What's some things that people can do right now to make their life better? Because we did say that we're going to talk a little bit more about some transparent things.
Transparent things. So things that can help you really, really, step one today, write what you want down. Or I don't care if it's a sticky note, but write it down, put it on your mirror in the restroom.
Yeah.
Put something, I don't care if you have to put an app on your phone. It's one app that I use called Thoughts.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And what it does is, if you have a great idea today, like I'll say, everything starts with me. Yeah, okay. Everything starts with me. I'll take that and I'll put it in that app. Everything starts with me. And throughout the year, it will send that thought back to me to remind me. You remember you said this.
Yes.
And it was those things that you were you have to reprogram your mind.
Yeah. Yes.
Reprogram the information that you're telling yourself. Because faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. And most of us are telling ourselves, I'm too old, I'm not educated, You know, I just don't have the resources. You keep telling yourself that, and then you start believing that.
Preach.
And really, that's not the reality. It's just you haven't tapped into what you need next.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
so that would be my first thing is change your language that you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
You know, speak positivity into yourself. And everything isn't, I wouldn't say, just go read the Bible every morning. No, don't. I'm saying the Bible is good, but at the same time, we had a guest on about a week or so ago that really inspired me because she said something. She said, if you want to be an inspirational speaker, listen to inspirational speakers.
Ah, gotcha. That's right.
If you really want to be a good pastor, listen to other pastors.
That's right.
If you want to be a good entrepreneur, take some notes from other people. Don't
I
think
think that goes
it's
back
all
to
you.
that you become who you hang around.
Yeah.
And sometimes people think that means you have to physically hang around people. There's times that you need to separate yourself from other people and start putting good stuff in your brain.
Yeah.
You may not be surrounded by positive people right now, but if you've got access to YouTube, you got access to the internet, you can just put videos on of positive people doing positive things and start feeding your brain that. You can read positive books. I've already mentioned one of them is The E-Myth. You can read Think and Grow Rich. You can read The Power of Positive Thinking.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I mean, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. These are all things that you can do right now to start changing your circumstances
Change
today.
that circumstance and your surroundings. And you might not think that the surroundings affect you that much.
Oh, it does.
But
It's
understand
huge.
this: if you just hang out in a dump, or in a trash compactor, whatever. If you just hang, you ain't got to eat nothing. You ain't got to sit down. But if you hang around there long enough, you're gonna smell like that.
That's right.
You
That's
know.
right.
So the same people that you hang around, that you might just, well, I ain't really doing what they do.
Right.
I'm not really.
Right.
You still have that mentality.
Yeah.
After a while. You know, I had a guy long time ago, and we're gonna do this because we got to go to break. I didn't think that he was influencing me at all.
Yeah.
You know, but I remember I go to his house and he'd park in the front yard, you know, not in the driveway, and just didn't really care. And 3 or 4 months later on, I'm realizing I'm parking in my front yard.
There
like
you
I
go.
don't care. Because it became something that was normal.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and when you start lowering your standards and that becomes normal.
Yes.
You know, when you start dealing with your clients, well, I'll talk with them tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Right.
You wouldn't do that with anybody
You wouldn't
else.
do that. Well, Tony Robbins talks about this, raising your standards.
Yeah.
In order for your life to change, you've got to raise your standards. You know? You've got to raise your standards.
You got to raise the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Raise
exactly
the bar.
what
And
you gotta do.
people, the two people that, well, the main person that's going to actually try to talk you out of that is yourself.
That's right.
The other people.
Positive self-talk.
Yeah. Because I'm saying usually the one that says, why am I doing this? Is you.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, you think you all that, huh? That's you saying that.
Absolutely.
And the other
wait a
one,
minute though, but you should think you're all that.
Yes, you
really
should.
You should. You should think you're all that.
Because if you don't, who else is going to do that?
That's true.
You know, and if you don't brag about yourself or believe in yourself, nobody
right.
else is.
That's absolutely
But then the other ones that always sit there and say, why you want to do all that?
Yeah.
Look at them and see what they're doing.
You
know,
ask somebody.
Right. Had a guy told me the other day, and I've become better at this. But I had asked him to come help me with some cameras, and it took a little bit longer for them to do some stuff. And he was like, yeah, see, that's why I didn't sign up to do production. And I was like, okay, well, what did you sign up to do?
Yeah.
Because you ain't doing nothing with your... sorry, we got to go to commercials.
Okay,
You're
on
listening
that
to...
note.
Yeah. So it's like before you criticize somebody else, evaluate yourself too.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Donnie, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not, but this is what I wanted. Seriously, you know, a lot of times I know that I can go blah, 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 but it's nice to hear your perspective on things, because I don't think people get a chance to see this side of you, and I think this side of you is even more impactful than I mean, I love your funny side. I absolutely love your funny side, and he's always gonna be funny. But I think sometimes God puts us in a position where we have to tell people what they need to hear.
Yeah,
So,
stop being, just for a lot of those in my last little thought, because I'm going to have to run.
Yeah.
But my last little thought really, don't get baptized in stupidity. You know?
There you go. I think he said it. He said it. Yeah.
Walk away with that. But
but we're going to take a quick break.
Yep.
We'll be right back. And maybe with a little surprise. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Talk.
All right.
You're listening to Doni Jones Live.
With Marty McFly.
And Miss Doni Jones, and we'll be back.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey, this is your girl, Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service. Don's Tree Service has been serving the metro Atlanta area for almost 20 years. I'm a certified arborist, and we are fully licensed and insured. Call us at 770-413-TREE. We give free estimates, and we don't charge extra for cleanup. Don's Tree Service, that's 770-413-TREE, or visit us online at donstree.com.
Hey, write this number down, 1-888-470-VAST. That's 1-888-470-VAST. Have you ever thought about having a produced commercial for your next event? Your church anniversary, birthday, family reunion, or if you just need some production work done, VAST Productions can help. We're an audio video production house specializing in making your audio and video dreams come to life. Thinking about a family documentary or a church history story? Call us at 1-888-470-VAST. That's 1-888-470-8278. VAST Productions has over 20 years of production experience, and we're ready to work for you. To get started, just call 1-888-470-VAST. That's 1-888-470-VAST. That's 1-888-470-8278.
Hey, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service and author of From Failure to Fabulous. From Failure to Fabulous is my opportunity to share with you my trials and tribulations of growing a tree service or growing a small business and making it successful by overcoming adversity, and also giving you some tidbits on what you can do on a day-to-day basis to achieve your dreams and be the best that you can be. And you can find us on Amazon. You can go to Doni Jones Live. Anywhere that books are sold, you should be able to find it.
Now, back to more Doni Jones Live with Donnie and Marty McFly.
Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live. Doni Jones Live.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am so excited that you guys get a chance to hang with us today, because today on our show, we've got a gentleman that I met actually a couple years ago, and it's amazing because sometimes God puts people in your life and it's a win-win situation, but you don't quite know how things are gonna turn out. And when I met this gentleman, I found out he was a speaker, he's an author, he's an entrepreneur, and he was already doing things that I was only aspiring to do at that time. And I feel like it's a great opportunity to bring him on the show because he has something to say about all of those things, all about being a speaker, all about being an entrepreneur, and also a relationship expert. And I think that's something we kind of need to talk about today. And I am talking about none other than Mr. Elam King. How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing really, really good. I'm gonna sit back and not be cheesy with you. Well, I am glad to have you, man. Yeah. And I meant it when I said that I felt like this was a win-win situation when we met, because, I mean, obviously we didn't know how we would ever work together or whatever, but just looking at what you were doing, how you were already putting out content, how you were already a published author, and you were just doing your thing, and you just kind of occupied this space that I was like, man, I want to be there. And I honor you for sharing your gift with me, and now sharing your gift with my audience. So,
hey, listen, you know, every time that we even get on the phone or start having a conversation, we can go for like hours.
Exactly.
And but it's organic and natural from not only our meeting, but then just, I guess, inside of your purpose and what you do. And I guess the same thing for me. And along the way, I get a chance to just meet incredible individuals like yourself. So I appreciate you.
Yeah. It's funny. He is an incredible individual himself too. But Elam, I know you'd been on our show before, and we talked primarily about relationships and everything that, but I really wanted to dig into a little bit more about our last conversation, which wasn't on screen. And that was about being in this COVID situation and stopping and smelling the roses. Because so many people are in this space where they're like, okay, we got to get through this. We got to get past this. This got to get back to normal. And there's never going to be whatever people perceive to be normal again. I think it's always going to be something that's evolving, but I feel like people need to hear that it's okay to be in the space that we're in right now.
Yes, that's something I really started more of last year, of just being okay with where I am. And I learned this actually from my pastor, that where you are is just as important as where you want to go. And I think that if you understand, of course, we always want to be aspiring to do things or whatever. I think that I started school early.
Yeah.
And so everybody that was around me was always older than me.
Yeah.
So it started me on a track of, okay, if somebody's older than you, then normally they have a little bit more than you, right?
Yeah.
So I like that space because it always put me in a space of wanting to aspire for more things.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't stop and just say, I just realized I had a book like last year.
Yeah.
Even though it's been out for like 3-4 years, I'm like, I got a whole book. Because I'm looking for the next book or the next interview or the next. So it's important to stop and just thank God for where you are.
Yeah.
And I know there's even a verse that talks about, the birds don't worry about next week and next month or whatever. And I'd be like, man, birds just be chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to chill sometimes too.
But birds also don't have no bills to pay.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I mean,
they got their own. They got nests to build to get away from the cat.
True.
They got things that they got to run away from too. And
true.
we have, we're a more intelligent species, so we have more things. But I need to stop and be like, you know what? I need to recognize Morgan at 13 years old because I'm gonna turn around and she's gonna be 20, and I'm like, I remember that little person.
Yeah.
So it's just in all multiple facets and just being thankful. So
yeah. Well, you being a gentleman that is kind of focused on relationships, what have you noticed that people are getting or not getting from their relationships now that we're dealing with this whole, you stuck inside or COVID-19, or people realizing they're happy with their partner, or they're realizing, nah, this ain't where I want to be for the rest of my life.
Do you have an hour?
I got an hour, but we're not going to do an hour today.
I would just
That'll
say,
be part 2.
I'd just say really quickly that just like in a relationship, right? When you're dating, I always say that that marriage exposes what was already there. So it's kind of like, the movie Fast and Furious, and they're already driving fast and they hit that nitro button. Okay, so when you're dating, you're doing the Fast and Furious. When you get married, it hits the nitro button. So what you were already doing, it just makes it bigger, right? That's what COVID did for a lot of relationships. Something was already there. So COVID came, boom, and just took you from, maybe we would have got divorced in 10 years to we're getting divorced next month. Because, and it's sad to say, but sometimes people are spending time away from each other for 8-9 hours a day being at work. I actually saved some people, and the reason why is because, some people are not friends.
Yes.
They're spouses. And there's a difference between being a spouse and a wife, being a spouse and a husband. And so if you're a husband, it's that's different. The interaction, the caring. If you're a wife, the same thing. And so, identifying what's important for that other person, actually making them happy, and then focusing on your happy as well. So some people just really weren't making each other happy. They just used to travel out of town a lot, so they didn't have to worry about it, right? And so now you up under somebody 24/7, or you can hear them all day long. I mean, that's how I feel about my children in the summertime when they would come home from school, and now 2 months here around, I'm like, I really don't like you. 2 months here. I love them.
But see, and I'm one of those crazy moms. No, I'm like, I'm one of those that's kind of always wanting my kids around. But then again, I also do work a lot. But I did I made the conscious choice when I started my business that it wasn't going to consume me and stop me from being a mom. And it also wasn't going to stop me from being a wife. It wasn't going to stop me from, trying to, I don't want to use the term serve, but in a way, I do call it serve my husband, and be there for my husband. And actually, that's one of the things that we talked about also that I'd like for you to talk about from the male perspective. Like I talked about how I feel like even though I'm a working woman, that it's important to me, I don't like the word subservient because it wasn't that, but it's also to be a safe space for my husband.
Absolutely.
To be a peaceful place for my husband. And I think that with this COVID thing, people were like, okay, I come home to a little hell, doing my regular work schedule, but now there's no work schedule or they're laid off or whatever, and they're coming home to hell at home, and it just kind of causes the relationship to fray. And I'm obviously you cannot just put that on the wife, but I just feel like now a lot of women say that they want a husband, but they don't want to necessarily be a wife. It's the way men perceive they want a wife.
It's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to date. It's a responsibility to be married. It's a responsibility to be a parent. And so what comes with that? I was talking to you about Clubhouse earlier, right? So I was on Clubhouse yesterday, and somebody we were just kind of talking about relationships, and the person was just like, "It just shouldn't have to be that hard." And I was just like, well, who told you? And I know where it comes from a social norm perspective.
Yeah.
The knight in shining armor, you just hop on the horse and just,
Yeah.
going off.
Yeah.
Okay, when you going off and do all that, there's work to be done.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do that work, that's okay. It's
Yeah.
no differently than being wealthy. Everybody can't be rich. Because it's a responsibility that comes
That's
with
real.
It's a responsibility to be broke too. It's a responsibility for wealth. So it's a responsibility to be single.
Now y'all see why I want this man on the show.
I mean, it has a responsibility. If you don't want to do it, that's okay. Just don't go and grab somebody's whole life forever and say, oh, well, we should just be able to just work this out. No. If you work this out, one of the first things I always ask people is, are you in counseling?
Yeah.
No. Okay. So this is your forever.
Yeah.
Longevity,
Yeah.
and you don't have somebody that's going to guide you along that way, and and a lot of times inside of our culture particularly, but I just think I'll say this is across the board because I have clients that are all ethnic groups, and I know that particularly for men, we might have some communication gaps and how we were raised and be tough and not speak out or whatever, and now we meet this woman forever, and now we have to turn around and be expressive and communicate and all that.
Yeah.
And so there's a responsibility for us inside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Simultaneously, with a woman in your home, that having a house and a home are two different things.
You better preach.
And creating that environment to where that peace that exists there. I have a responsibility in there too, but however, there's some things that just rest on the wife. Keeping the peace.
And I agree. Okay, that's the thing that we got on. The fact that, and I'm a strong supporter of the LGBTQ plus community, but I'm talking specifically about straight relationships. You have there's certain dynamics that I feel are just natural between a husband and a wife, and I think people fight that nowadays as opposed to embracing it. Roles. And my husband cooks sometimes. I cook sometimes, but that's not what I mean. I mean, like, sometimes it's okay to just not be right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to just, it let him think that was his idea. It's okay.
Yeah.
Not because I'm putting myself down. It's just that I know that he's wired differently than I am. So I might see something that he doesn't see. Why argue about it when it's just the reason why he doesn't see it is because we're wired different? And I just don't think people embrace that enough.
Yeah, I get so much pushback from when I start talking about gender roles and things of that nature. And so it's like, why do I have to nobody's asking you to dumb yourself down.
No, not
submission.
Do not dumb yourself
Submission
down.
is a strength.
Yeah.
It's not a weakness, but it's looked upon as if you're supposed to be under somebody's feet. No, go be as great as you want to. But if you really understood the power of your femininity, then you would know that the submission portion is actually a strength. It's not a weakness. And again, it's a responsibility that comes with inside of that, inside of the matrimonial space. And so I feel that there are some women love to have that level of being liberal and girl power and all that stuff. But then you want the man to be conservative inside of his roles of security and pay bills and protection and fatherhood and all that. But you want to go be Miss Liberal. Like, pick a struggle. Which one do you want?
Yeah. But I think you can have both. I think you can have both, but there has to be a conversation about what that looks like, and also, do you know what you're marrying? People say that that's what they want, but then they go get a knucklehead, or they say that's what they want, but then they go get a guy that can't keep a job.
Well, that's one of the reasons why that I have an online course coming out, and
focusing
talk
to us about that.
Pre-marriage. Online course. It's called Are We Ready Yet? Because there's so many spaces that people don't even look at outside of his teeth are nice and you think he has a good background, whatever case to be, and the sex is amazing or whatever case to be. Right. That's great.
And he got a nice car.
Yeah, and he got a nice car and your girls think he's great or whatever. Well, let's look at your ancestral patterns. Okay. What's down your lineage that's going to come into your marriage later on?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, do you even know your love language? Do you even know how to love yourself, let alone be able to share and teach that person? Because the whole Blues Clues thing, he should just figure you out. Right. That's a no-no. Have you talked about children? How many children that you're going to have? How's the discipline going to be? When it comes to religion, have you talked about infidelity and communication and finances? It is about the money. That's even in the Bible.
Money is generally, they say, one of the top reasons.
It's the number 2 reason. Number one is infidelity. Number two is finances. Number three is communication for the biggest reasons why that people get divorces.
Yeah.
And so are you having business meetings?
Yeah.
You know, marriage, the biggest business, emotional, and financial decision that you will ever make in your life.
Preach.
There's a business aspect that exists of marriage. Have you even looked at that? So I went to that space as well, because when you have 50% divorce rate inside of the U.S. and inside of the African American,
it's higher than that in our
it's
community.
70%. So let's really look at this. You line up 10 couples and 7 have statistically are not making it right now. That's before COVID. It's before COVID. So you're signing up for the biggest move in your life with a 70% chance of failing. But then when I ask you, are you in counseling?
No, I'll tell you what literally just happened last week. I was at a client's house who also happens to be a friend, and she is going through some challenges right now in her marriage. First thing I asked her was, have you talked about counseling? She said, oh, he won't do that. So what do you do in a situation like that where they have been together for a while, so you don't just throw a relationship like that down the drain. But he doesn't want to he doesn't believe in that. He's like, well, no, we're going to work it out. By the way, guys, we're talking to Elam King. He is the author of Understanding a Man, and he's also got a course coming up. I want to take a quick break so you can answer that clearly. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Doni Jones Live with Doni the Tree Lady and Elam King, and we'll be right back.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hi, I'm Doni the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for giving us a chance to take care of your trees, Atlanta. And also I wanted to give you a chance to see the magic behind our company, and that's our people. Our people make the difference. So once again, thank you, Atlanta. Our number is 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-8733.
Welcome back. I'm Doni the Tree Lady, hanging out with this wonderful gentleman, Mr. Elam King, and we were talking about relationships before we went to break, and the fact that I do have, just as an example, I have a friend that is in a relationship, she's in a marriage, but the husband doesn't want to go to counseling. What do you do in a situation like that?
So I say probably about 85% of the time I'm normally contacted, more recently it's becoming more men, but I'm normally contacted by the woman first.
Yeah.
Whether it's dating or whether it's married or whatever case it be. And then when I hear that statement, I give them this analogy. I said, you have to think about it like this. It's like both of you have a cold, right? And snotty nose and coughing and sneezing, right? Okay, so then imagine you go to the doctor and he doesn't, right? And then, the next day you still sneezing, coughing, he looking at you like, okay. So then about maybe a week later, all of a sudden, you're not sneezing anymore. Then maybe a month later, you're not coughing anymore. Meanwhile, he's still coughing, sneezing, blowing his nose, whatever. He's watching you.
Okay, so you're saying she should go ahead and get the counseling.
And so what happens is that she starts, and so again, you begin to change, and he's going to notice you. He's only with you every day, all day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's like, who are you talking to? 100% of the time that the woman starts, the guy comes. It might be 90 days later.
That is
It might
so
be 2
true.
weeks later. It might be 6 months. 100% of the time, the guy comes because she up here reading.
Yeah.
And God forbid you on the phone, because all
Come
my
on
stuff
now.
is virtual.
Yeah.
So God forbid you on the phone with me, you start laughing. You know she on the phone with a man, and you like, what he talking to her about? I want, and it's like the ego thing comes in, and then he turn around and be like, oh, Elam, cool. I'm like, yeah, I know. And they all say it. They're just like, yo, you all right with me? And I'm like, I know.
Okay.
I ain't want your lady. You know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to do something here,
Well, they say therapists, and that a lot of times there's that crossover.
Never.
But you're not that kind of therapist. I love it.
100% of the time, ladies, the man comes. 100.
I love
because
it.
you're forging forward.
But I think it's like that in the relationship period. And I'll be a little transparent here. A couple months ago, I've been married 17 years. And actually, it's more than a couple months ago that this happened. I just got into this phase because because of COVID, we are spending more time trying to do more stuff with the girls, and they're not in certain after school activities.
Okay.
And so we are tested as far as COVID is concerned, and we do wear a mask, but I try to get out and do stuff. And I noticed I'd been planning all these things, and I'm like, it just hit me. I was like, he doesn't plan any of this stuff. Like, he don't plan none of this stuff. So I started getting really, really angry, you know? And so I plan another thing and he'll show up and, you know, enjoy it and everything, but he wasn't planning it. So I don't know what happened that weekend, but I just lost it. I just got so angry, so mad. I was crying about it. I was like, I'm the one that's always planning this stuff. Don't you want to do stuff with our family? Da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, I'm gonna come wherever if you want us to do something, I'm gonna be there. And I'm like, that's not the point. I want you to plan it. So I talked to a friend of mine who's been married for 40 years, 30 years, and they're older couple. And she's like, have you ever told him? Just sat down and said, this is what you want. And I was like, well, no, I mean, he sees me doing it. And she's like, he has no clue that this is what you want at all.
And that's where the Blues Clues, I say a lot of times, comes into relationship. Blues Clues works on Nickelodeon. It don't work inside a relationship. You can't just think that just because you were out there shaking and moving and doing it, that he sees that. He's kind of like, okay, I probably didn't want to do that anyway. Let's start there.
I can't I
didn't want to do it anyway, so you got it, so cool. And I will never plan, by the way. And but what happens is that what happens inside of conversation is that you've said it to him before, but you say it in heat. When you say it in heat, we don't listen. And that's for you, for me, and me for you when you say it in heat. But when you sit me down, minus game, minus, you know, whether they on their PlayStation, whatever, when you catch a moment and say, hey, you know, I just wanted to talk to you about this. Now, even the first time you might say it, he might not get it, but we love you. We don't want you to be hurt and upset, whatever the case may be. So we'll ultimately do it. And a woman has the power within her voice, the strength. If I wanted to say one thing to women, you have that femininity to whereas, okay. You know, we're going to do it.
I'll tell you what I did. Before the blow up, it were about a week. He could tell something was off. And I'm married 17 years, happily married for 17 years, and I still fell into this trap of my own mind. He would come through the kitchen, I'd be cooking or something or doing something, he could tell I'm upset. I'm like, he's like, what's going on? Are you okay? Nothing. I'm fine. I don't want to talk about it. Well, did I do something? No. You know, and he went for like a week. Brewing. Exactly, right. But what frustrated me was that he just got to a point, he was like, okay, honey, I don't know what's wrong, and he was just fine. I'm like, how can he just be fine all of a sudden? And then that's what caused me to blow up, because it was kind of like, oh, well, you don't care.
You don't care. I was going to say, we think we don't care. And it's kind of like we do care, but if you ain't going to say nothing, like, I ain't got time to go figure that Blues Clues out. You know what I'm saying? When you're ready, I know she's going to say something when she's ready. And how much time could we in our relationships cut down by just simply, I have a friend that says something that they took the word plan and family and put it together, and they call it planly time. Instead of saying, can we talk? Because when you hear that, you just like, oh God, what is it now? Versus it's like, okay, can we have some family time later on? And it kind of sets the stage of, you know, we're going to sit down and plan for our family. And this is obviously important, so it resonates inside of their mind. So you got to sit down and do that. And if you don't want to do that, then you're missing a key piece of the responsibility of being in a marriage.
Absolutely. So. Well, what's some advice for single people that are looking to get married, especially with everything that's going on right now?
Sit down and figure you out. Because that's what life is all about. I would say that the single space, a lot of times, you know, married people have a tendency sometimes to talk down to single people, like, you don't understand what this is really about, whatever. And I say you need to be so excited. This is the best time in your life, because you have an opportunity of forming exactly what you're looking for, and that starts with you. And I would say that, you know, you loving yourself, because you're going to have to teach somebody how to love you. So why not maximize loving yourself? You should be seeking out mentors inside of your finances, inside of your health, inside of your business, inside of your relationship, so that you understand, because you're building a structure that you're going to be able to do down the road, instead of starting the whole thing over. So if you're taking care of it now, when the person, when your mate comes along, they're able to see how you're operating. And I always say, you know, there's 4 phases for ladies particularly that I always say that you want to think about. Phase 1 is understanding and knowing who you are and what you want. All right. Phase 2, and this is just really quickly, and this is, you know, unshameless
I was
plug.
gonna say
inside of chapter 3.
I was gonna ask you about
Yeah, inside of chapter 3 of Understanding a Man, that chapter, and so of course inside of the book I interviewed 24 men about various topics of the heart, and then I wrote about it. And so these are things that the men wanted women to know regarding, what they would want their daughters to know in order to have a longevity within their relationship. And so chapter 3 is Do You See Me? And so in that chapter I only interviewed single men. Because I wanted the single men to say, this is what we're really looking for, regardless of what you think out here. And so inside of that, the men that are in there, the shakers and movers and doing their things, from doctors to producers or whatever. And so that's where I came up with these 4 phases. So phase 1 is, knowing yourself, first of all right? And then phase 2, pay attention to his world, right? And figure out whether you can insert yourself into it gracefully. Because here's the thing, you know your world. Remember, figure yourself out first.
Come on now.
Now you're looking at his world, and you figure out how you can put yourself in there, right? Gracefully. Not just show up at the family cookout.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? And then once you intertwine yourself in there, whatever you see, believe it.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Don't try to change it.
Nothing but a word.
Believe what you see.
Believe what you. I cannot tell you how many women that I meet, especially, ask me for advice, and they'll say something like, yeah, but he did such and such, and I kind of didn't like that, but you know what? Everybody has it, and it's like you're making excuses for what you saw.
Yeah, no, that's who it is.
You saw something that told you this is not the right situation. But Elam, I could keep you here all day, but I do want you to tell us about your training. You've got an event coming up.
Right.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so, of course, the first book, I had an opportunity of really speaking more towards the ladies. And so, in the distance, you're like, well, we ain't going to talk to the men, right?
Yeah.
But it actually was divinely put together of, because there's some things that us as men, we need to focus on and work on as well. And, whether it's And and that's important from a leadership perspective, and so understanding that we're going to go over here in Huddle with this men's conference is going to be June 19th.
Okay.
Juneteenth is more people are understanding that's affectionately known as a liberation time for Black people as a whole. Well, there's a liberation within men that we need to do as well. And so the top 3 topics for men: money, sex, and respect. All right. So that's why it's called the Money, Sex, and Respect Conference. So we're going to talk a little bit about money. We're going to talk a little about sex and relationship. We're going to speak about respect and how you really earn that. So it is a men's conference. Ladies can come because I know sometimes you might have sons or whatever case it be that might need that mentorship. I definitely want to encourage you to do that. But ladies can only come if you bring a man.
A
with
man.
You.
There you go.
All right. And so a lot of times people are scared to operate inside of this space because men, we're, again, back to that built for tough piece. We don't want to go get some counseling or some conferencing, whatever case it be. I'm not even going to look at it like that. It's kind of like we're going to forge forward in order to improve our community one piece at a time. And so I'm super excited. The men that come there are going to be some amazing ladies there, kind of, I'm just going to say from a serving perspective. So you'll have and my business manager is a woman, so she put that together. She was like, oh, they're going to love this. So,
I love it.
Yes.
Well, how do people get in contact with you?
You can go to my website, understandingaman.com. You'll also see the conference information up there as well. Tickets are now available on Eventbrite. If you have a business and want to be a vendor, you have some vending opportunities
and
as
a little birdie told me you've got another book coming out too.
Yeah, that's actually going to coincide with the conference. So this is Understanding a Man, Memoirs of a Father to His Son. And so it's going to be the men speaking to their sons, or if they have a son or just a young man as well, just kind of giving him.
What about men that have daughters?
That
no,
one.
I'm just
well, we started with that. That's why we had that one first. So now, first the men were talking to the women, and now they're talking to the men. So it's not just for young men.
Yeah.
It's just for men, period, but particularly those that might, need some extra guidance in certain areas.
Okay, awesome. Well, it's always a joy to have you on the show. It really is, and you truly are not just a gift to relationships, but I think you're a gift to people that are single too, because it's the single people that wind up getting into relationships. So if you can get this stuff right, I think you can have happy relationships, and you do that by following this gentleman right now. And how do people follow you on social media if you would like for them to do that? Yes, you can follow me at Elam B. King on Instagram and Understanding a Man fan page on Facebook. We're also on YouTube as well for Understanding a Man. And you can also listen to my podcast, which is on Anchor and all the little
major platforms or whatever. Understanding a Man podcast. I want to make sure I say everything. You can go to understandingaman.com. It's all up there.
Okay, then that's what we're gonna do. Once again, guys. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing us. I appreciate you.
I wanted to say I'm Marty McFly earlier when you
know, right?
I couldn't say it. I was like, okay, that doesn't go for that moment. But I just felt that.
I know, right? Well, thanks again.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for checking out our show. We'll be back next week, and thank you for listening to Doni Jones Live with Donnie the Tree Lady, and today with Mr. Elam King. And Marty McFly will be back soon too.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.